Generations passed, and the descendants of Adam multiplied across the earth. But as humanity grew, a shadow fell over the hearts of men, and wickedness spread like a plague. The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become, and his heart was filled with pain. Yet, amidst the darkness, one man stood as a beacon of light. Noah was a righteous man. Noah walked faithfully with God, maintaining a pure heart in a broken world. Then God spoke to Noah, "I am going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I am going to bring flood waters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens," God declared. "So make yourself an ark of cypress wood. Make rooms in it and coat it with pitch inside and out." God gave Noah the precise measurements, 300 cubits long, 50 wide, and 30 high. Noah gathered his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives, sharing the divine covenant with them. With faith and obedience, the work began. They cut down the tall cypress trees. Noah and his sons worked tirelessly, hauling the heavy logs and shaping the timber. They boiled the black pitch, preparing the sealant to make the great vessel waterproof. Hand by hand, they coated every plank of wood, ensuring the water would never penetrate. The people of the land looked at the massive ship on dry ground and mocked their efforts. Years passed, and the frame of the giant ark began to dominate the horizon. Noah watched over the work, his faith unwavering despite the passage of time. They raised the heavy roof beams, securing the top of the massive structure. A single large door was set into the side of the ark, the only portal to safety. Inside, the ark was divided into lower, middle, and upper decks, with rooms for every kind of creature. Finally, the ark was completed. It stood as a silent witness to God's decree. "Take every kind of food that is to be eaten," God commanded, "and store it away." Strange silence settled over the land as the final preparations were made. The Lord said to Noah, "Go into the ark, you and your whole family, and take with you 7 pairs of every clean animal and a pair of every unclean animal to keep their kinds alive." And then, from every corner of the earth, the creation began to move. 2 by 2, they came to Noah and entered the ark, guided by a power greater than their own. Birds of every color and song flew down from the heavens, filling the sky. The mighty elephants and the gentle giraffes walked together in peace. Even the smallest creatures of the ground crawled forward, not one left behind. Noah stood at the entrance, watching the miracle of life gather in safety. They entered the ark, just as God had commanded, a sanctuary of hope. Then Noah and his family stepped inside, leaving the old world behind. And when all were safe inside, the Lord himself shut the door. The door was sealed, and then the sky turned to ash, and the first cold drops began to fall. On that very day, the sky grew darker than night, and the wind began to howl. All the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were opened. The rain fell hard, and the dry ground began to vanish beneath the rising torrents. As the waters increased, they lifted the ark, and it floated high above the earth. Inside, the storm raged outside, but within the wooden walls was peace and safety. They cared for the creatures, keeping the spark of life alive in the darkness. The waters rose so high that all the high mountains under the entire heavens were covered. Every living thing on the face of the earth was wiped out. Only Noah and those with him in the ark were left. The earth was silent, buried beneath the deep water as the storm raged on. But God remembered Noah and all the wild animals and livestock that were with him in the ark. And he sent a wind over the earth, and the waters began to recede. The springs of the deep and the floodgates of the heavens were closed, and the rain stopped falling. The water receded steadily from the earth, flowing back into the depths. At the end of the 150 days, the water had gone down, and the tops of the mountains became visible. And on the 17th day of the 7th month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. After 40 days, Noah opened a window he had made in the ark. He sent out a raven to see if the waters had dried up from the earth. The raven kept flying back and forth until the water had dried up from the earth, finding no place to rest. Then he sent out a dove to see if the water had receded from the surface of the ground. But the dove could find no place to stand because there was water over all the surface of the earth. Noah waited 7 more days, praying for the earth to heal. And again he sent the dove out from the ark. When the dove returned to him in the evening, there in its beak was a freshly plucked olive leaf. Noah reached out his hand and took the leaf, his heart overflowing with joy. Then Noah knew that the water had receded from the earth, and he showed the sign to his family. He waited 7 more days and sent the dove out again. But this time it did not return to him, for it had found a new home. Noah then removed the covering of the ark and looked out. He saw that the surface of the ground was dry. The earth was reborn. Then God said to Noah, "Come out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons and their wives." With eager hearts, they unsealed the massive side door, letting the fresh air flood the ark. Noah and his family took their first steps onto the dry, clean earth. "Bring out every kind of living creature with you," God said, "so they can multiply on the earth." The birds flew out in spectacular flocks, filling the air with songs of freedom. The lions and the bears walked out into the forests, reclaiming their homes. The family stood together, watching the earth fill with life once more. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord to give thanks for their salvation. They prepared the wood, offering a sacrifice of gratitude to the Lord. A warm, bright flame rose from the altar, carrying their prayers to the heavens. The Lord smelled the pleasing aroma and said in his heart, "Never again will I curse the ground because of humans." As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. Then God blessed Noah and his sons, saying to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number, and fill the earth." And God said, "This is the sign of the covenant I am making between me and you and every living creature. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Whenever I bring clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life." His family looked up in awe, their hearts filled with complete peace and hope. Every living creature felt the promise, stepping forward into a new dawn. Noah's faith had carried the seed of life through the greatest storm, bringing a new beginning. The sons of Noah went out to build, and life flourished once more across the valleys. The ark rested high on Mount Ararat, a monument of hope for generations to come. Every rainbow in the sky would remind humanity of God's eternal promise. A covenant that would endure for all generations, a promise of mercy and love. As the sun set over the mount, a deep peace fell over the new world. The story of Noah's Ark remains a beacon of faith, reminding us that hope is never lost. Thank you for watching The Voices of Eden. Subscribe for more epic biblical stories.